Welcome to this week's supply chain update, brought to you by Phoenix International. The US-China tariff truce has been extended for 90 days, running through November 10, 2025. During this time, Chinese goods entering the US will continue to face a 30% duty, while US exports to China remain under a 10% duty. Modified reciprocal tariffs are in effect, with a 10% baseline for most nations, and Indian goods facing an additional 25% duty starting August 27. Meanwhile, potential new tariffs of up to 100% on semiconductors and fresh duties on pharmaceuticals have been signaled, though no timeline has been confirmed. On the Trans-Pacific eastbound, demand remains soft, with Southeast Asia loadings outpacing China. The tariff truce extension is stabilizing September outlooks, but rates from Shanghai to the US have been sliding since June. On the Far East westbound, carriers are cutting rates in late August to spur bookings, while the transatlantic westbound sees steady base rates with peak surcharges pushed to later in the year. Equipment shortages on the Trans-Pacific are easing, and delays from earlier port congestion in the Far East are improving. In Europe, Antwerp remains heavily congested with yard utilization above 92%, and inland equipment shortages persist in central and southern regions. Trans-Pacific space remains widely available despite capacity running at 70 to 80% of normal. Far East westbound services have extra loaders and minimal blank sailings, while transatlantic blank sailings are steady at 5 to 6% with some route adjustments. Asia-Latin America spot rates averaged about $2,350 per 40-foot container this week, down 3% from last week. Utilization remains high, over 85% on Pacific routes and near full on East Coast services. Mexico's major ports are strengthening regional links, while Panama plans 2 new Canal Zone ports to expand capacity. Stricter export checks in Southeast Asia may add 1 to 3 days to LATAM-bound shipments. Updates to the National Motor Freight Classification that took effect in July have had a smaller impact than expected. Larger shippers planned ahead, while smaller ones may see higher costs, and overall LTL rates continue to trend upward. Analysts are predicting a subdued ocean peak season despite hopes for an October to November boost. Spot rates on major Asia-US lanes are still falling, though the pace has slowed, and overcapacity remains a concern with new vessel deliveries on the horizon. And that concludes our update on the global supply chain. Thank you for joining us. We will continue to monitor these developments and keep you informed.